Hi, my name is Sushma Bharath. I head programs and marketing at Vired. Today we have with us Naina Lal Kidwai. Ma'am, it's so nice to have you with us, and I'm really looking forward to our chat. I want to talk to you about learning, about education, about edtech, about your career, and about some advice that you can give us and to the people who are watching today.
I'm honored, delighted to be with you.
So I'd like to actually kickstart off by asking that in all your years of experience, do you think there's been a change in what is expected from a working professional in terms of, what should they know? And what is that change then?
If you look at the fact that I've spent 35 years, there's certainly a change. And the change has really happened from moving from hierarchies to a meritocracy. So it's very favorable. But the big change, Sushma, is today with COVID. I believe that this is one of those pivoting moments in management and for people coming through the system where there is going to be the need for different skill sets and equally a very different perspective that managers and corporates are going to see. One of those will come, of course, from the fact that the work from home is, I believe, here to stay. It may not be 100% work from home, but every company has now got comfortable with it, and we will see this combination. But working with that combination is not easy. I was part of a Harvard Business School panel, actually, which was reviewing what are these new traits or traits which we are going to be looking for from people in the workplace. And right up there was resilience and agility. I think the recognition is that change is going to be so much a part of the system that all of us have to be resilient and agile, pivoting to change. The organizations that get it right, the individuals that get it right are the ones that will survive. A second trait which came up is collaboration. Now, collaboration has been part of a mantra for, just eons. It's, again, being reinforced through teams and the ability of teams to work. But I believe the challenge, and I was listening to an interview of 4 of the global tech CEOs, the Satya Nadellas of the world, and they're all saying we're going to have to reinvent how collaboration looks in this new normal.
You've obviously broken the glass ceiling. You've had a lot of firsts. What would you consider the 3 diktats that you have lived by and that you think would be, which are, perennial, which they're always going to be evergreen in terms of something which you would give as advice to today's youth?
So I'm going to draw on not just what I think, but on the 30 women CEOs who I had as subjects in a book I put together, which was 30 Women in Power, their voices, their stories. And while these were women CEOs, I think the traits they talk about apply to anyone, men and women, girls and boys. And one lot was what I would call the traits. So the traits inevitably about passion for work. You have to enjoy what you're doing to get the best out of what you do. Hard work, inevitable. You have to work hard to be able to achieve. And the passion and hard work sort of go together. Another trait is collaboration and teamwork, which we touched on earlier. Important to be able to work with others because none of us have the complete skill set that is needed. So having others that can work well with you, that you can draw on, and in doing good teamwork, to have diversity and inclusion at the core. Why is diversity and inclusion important? It's not a tick box exercise of, I need women on my team, I need people from the north, I need people from the south. No, it is about diversity of ideas. So the team I have a voice, I must hear their voice. There must be disagreement at the top table at every discussion. Disagreement which is positive. We all come to a solution. Once a collective solution is arrived at, we align around that solution. We don't just hold dogmatically to our views, but airing our views and everyone having a voice is important. So the diversity of ideas and the inclusion of ideas is very important. From that flows innovation. Innovation of ideas and thought. Because if we all keep thinking the same way and do the same old thing, we're not going to be able to innovate. And innovation is key in the workplace, or if we are entrepreneurs, then even more so. So these traits were outstanding and were said across the board by these women CEOs. And I'll just add one, and which is more peculiar to women, which is ambition is not necessarily bad. I would add a second area, and that is how do we, as we move into more unitary families, build our support system. And the last and third area I would say is the power of association. And I say this because there's some words of Swami Vivekananda, and let me see if I can get this right, which have always stayed with me. And he says, a drop of water which falls from the sky, if you catch it in your hand, it's clean enough for you to drink. That same drop of water, when it falls in the gutter, is not even good enough for you to wash your feet with. That drop of water on a lotus leaf is something that you would enjoy. That drop of water in an oyster could become a pearl. So how do we create that ecosystem around us that enables that drop of water to become the pearl that it could become if we can get it right? So who we associate with and the positivity we bring around us is also important. So seek the right people, the right mentors, the right individuals who help you grow and get rid of the negatives around you to the extent you can, because those only bear in on you and pull you down.
What do you think this generation is most equipped to do right? As in, especially in the light of that's the new normal, the new situation we're living in. What do you think will come most naturally to them?
Well, what I love about the millennials is there's a passion, there's a confidence, there is a belief in themselves. And I think we in the corporate world, those of us who've done that, have to encourage that, because that feeling of self-confidence is important. But in the process, we cannot stop learning. In fact, even when I think back about what I learned at the Harvard Business School way back in '82, 5 years after I was out of school, very little of what I learned was relevant, because education moves on. However, what we don't forget is how we learn. So the way we think, the way we learn are what is important, and the continuous learning is key. One of my most favorite Sanskrit shlokas, and I probably quote this to death, is Mahastavira Sangarakshita. To know what we do not know is the beginning of wisdom. And at any one point, there's so much that we do not know. So to be able to perennially learn, to suck up information, to ensure that we understand what we do not know. Organizations often deliver this to you on your doorstep, but we don't take it. But even when they don't, the ability to self-learn, to reach out, to sign up for programs is all part of what we can do, and it's within our reach. And that is something that we should certainly do. And the millennial is really well placed to do it, because digitally savvy, able to do this, do it in your own time, do it at midnight, however you want to work. But don't forget that what you're trying to do is enhance your skills and learn and be able to deliver.
So where do you think is the gap? Because clearly they do have the confidence, they have this, they have the ability and the access to information and knowledge. So where is the gap which you see today in the market when it comes to millennials and youngsters really getting what they need to know to be more relevant in their workplaces?
I think there's a restlessness, which is a positive if it's a restlessness to acquire knowledge. It's not a positive if it is a restlessness to, oh, this isn't working for me, so I'm going to move on. The ability to stay, the staying power, and I think the millennials get spoiled for choice to some extent. We didn't have that privilege. So I'm not saying that you have to stick in the same job for 35 years, but you can rethink why you want to move. Just because you don't like your boss, well, do something about working with that boss. Yeah. I've been through a career where I didn't like bosses, but it didn't mean I had to look to change jobs each time.
So with your extremely amazing career in finance, where do you think the skilling and how can education and technology really play into that? What do you think is the future? Where do you think that how can we really kind of bridge that gap?
I just wish that in my day, we could have had some of these amazing tools available to us. Because if you look at the world of finance, it's very broad. And the ability to understand where we are going with it cannot easily happen through classrooms. And you take fintech, it's changing almost on a weekly basis. There's new things happening, and it's happening all over the world, from Silicon Valley to Bangalore. So how can we get the best minds in the spaces to talk to us? And the best way would be digital. These are very busy people. They don't want to fly in to meet little groups of students. However, if we can get them to get their training, their lessons in a way which can be digitally delivered, it's huge. So the whole fintech space lends itself enormously to a digital delivery. I think even professional work in finance, even traditional sort of chartered accountancy programs and so on, can benefit from this. Because if you look at a traditional CA program, people are going to office, they attend the article clerkship sort of period in an organization, then they go home and study. But what they're having to study on their own. Whereas if we can deliver this to them in a digital way, imagine digital programs that help you to basically get ready to do the exams, but even more important, to help you to absorb what is the essence of that education rather than learning by rote. So not only is it how we deliver digital education, but also the ability of the individual to have access at a level which we otherwise would not have. So every professional program should have a digital, if not a majorly digital component to it.
Thank you, ma'am, so much for your time. It was really lovely talking to you. Thank you again.
Thank you, Sushma. I enjoyed it, and you are working in a very critical area for India, for the world. So please keep going.